Okay, we're live. I think I hit the public setting. Find out here in a second. Alright, no, there it is. Alright, hey, Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. Just doing another poolside chat. Not our normal time, and I'm dealing with, I think, a torn ACL. Going in and see the doctor tomorrow. Get a short of cortisone or something. Hopefully nothing worse than that, but I'm hurting. So, you know, when I started in real estate, I mean, I read all kinds of books. I was a big fan of Dave Delgado, Wade Cook, Albert Lowry. Albert Lowry maybe not so much, but I bought his book. And, you know, it was Creating Wealth, I think, was one of his. But I read all kinds of books that kept me motivated, that kept me interested in real estate. But I see, hey, John, hey, glad I got you before you had to go to bed. Or maybe you're just not sleeping well, I don't know. Anyhow, John Brady from the UK, glad to have you. So I've always been interested in making money, and so I knew that the way to do that was to get information, right? Well, now of course it's so easy to hand it out and communicate with people through the internet that you know, there's really no need to do the seminars door to door. You can do it right online, right? Why not? I mean, I can tell you, I have some companies that I started in real estate, made a ton of money in real estate, and then I started branching out. I kind of out of boredom created other companies, and one or two of those have been very, very successful. So, but I used to do trade shows, and I spent $100,000 just to go to a trade show, to have a big booth set up. And so people could come in and, you know, and they talk to all the people that work for me, and we'd show them the things that we make. You know, I'm a manufacturer. And anymore, I'm done, man. I don't do it anymore. I don't need it. I can communicate directly. My business can communicate directly with people directly over the web. And one of the things that concerns me most is I hear these people doing these seminars. And man, they're not screwing around. I mean, they are trying to shake people down for like $20, $30, $40, $50,000. You know, and it's all under the guise of it being a free seminar. So I just want to tell you, anybody, if you want to attend that stuff, you know, you go ahead. But if somebody says it's a free seminar and you walk in and they're talking about, they start separating the crowd. Hey, who's got $1,500? Hey, who wants to really make money and spend $20, $30, $40,000 a couple? Man, just leave. Just walk away. And from what I understand, the people that have told me, and I'm really particularly talking about Merrill seminars, is, man, I have not heard of one good thing. And I feel kind of bad because Merrill liked one of my videos. And I'd love to talk to him. If he wants to have a video, I'd love to chat with him, because I'd like to believe that he's legit, and I'd love for him to convince me that it's a good idea for people to spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on his course or whatever exactly he gives them for the money. You know, well, I mean, I think you can always get education from multiple sources, and I do. Listen, I know for a fact, only because I know I'm legit. I've been making money this way since I was 19. But also, you always have to question. You have to question people that are going to make money off of you. You know, I always tell my kids, I tell everybody, I said, man, when somebody stands to make a commission off something you're going to do, then you really have to scrutinize that person and the situation, because, you know, they're human. People do things for money. You know, people lie, people mislead. It happens all the time. And, you know, fortunately for me, you know, I mean, I got no, you know, I'm actually, once in a while I think about making a course, only because so many people ask me to make a course, and people want one. But I don't do any mentoring, and I don't do that sort of thing because, man, my time's too valuable. I don't I don't want to spend it talking to one individual at a time. I mean, I do a little bit of that in my own town with friends and family, but to be honest, it's not the highest and best use of my time, and it's not what I want to do. That's why people write me questions in an email. I say, man, write it in the comments, or pick up on a live show and ask your question there, because then everybody benefits from it, right? And I just think that's the way to go. I just think it's efficient, you know. But these courses that I'm told, or these seminars, where people are invited in for a free seminar and they get a little bit of free education, and then the next thing you know, they're saying, hey, how many people really want to make money, and and how many people are really serious, and they start beating up people, and they're trying to get them to put $20,000-$30,000 on their credit card, and make them feel like they should feel ashamed if they that they're not serious about making money, unless they really want to if they don't spend the money. And the old adage, it takes money to make money, like, yeah, you got to spend money with us to make money. Well, bullshit, don't believe it. Listen, anybody tells me they got $15,000, $25,000, $30,000, I'm saying, man, you've already got it made. That's all you need to begin, big time. And you can start with zero. Listen, I started with zero, okay? I was 19, long hair, didn't have really much money. I started a cabinet shop, so it was really hit and miss. I'd have no work, then I'd have some work, and it was not ideal by any means. Yeah, of Amway, I don't know. I don't even know much about Amway, to be honest. I mean, I know they've lasted a long time, but you know what? What I don't like is shaking people down for big bucks and trying to make them feel ashamed if they don't spend the money. Because people are desperate. People feel desperate, I made a course one time. I made a course. This is like 26 years ago. I put something together, and I just started to experiment a little bit. And what I found was that people would want to buy a course or want to buy some time with me, and they'd want to split it between 2 credit cards, and I'm talking about $160. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? If you can't afford to put $160 on one credit card, you should just be worrying about paying down your damn credit cards, anyways. So I try to practice what I preach. Keep your overhead low. This home behind me you see here, it's paid for. It's been paid for many, many years. And I hear people saying, oh, don't, and look, I rented my first home. First home I rented, and I bought probably 5 homes before I moved into the 6th one. And the reason for that is that I was paying $125 a month rent. And it was cheap, and it was just simple. I want to make money. I understand that money is a tool, and that's what I want you guys to understand. Money is a tool. I mean, it is, listen, you can go to work every day, and yeah, you're the tool, right? You're the tool going to work and making money. But when you got some cash and you put it to work for yourself, and then you see it turn and turn and grow and grow, I mean, that's your seed capital. You want to treat it with respect, and you want to understand the value of that money. And anyways, but these seminars, again, I want to get back on point. It's easy for me to drift off. And anybody wants to talk about anything, we can talk about anything you want. But this idea of shaking down people, I call it shaking down people, asking people for money, when they're invited in for a free seminar, and they say, well, yeah, the free part's over. Now, if you really want to make money, let's spend $1,500. How many people want to go to the next level? How many people can raise $20,000? They separate the room and that sort of thing. You know what? It's just terrible, and I don't like it. I know that these are tough times. It's funny because I made my first million in my mid-20s. Okay, that's been 30 years ago. That's 30 years ago, and $1 million then is not $1 million today. I was in Hermosa Beach. I love Los Angeles. I hang out there quite a bit. And I was in Hermosa Beach, and I went to a comedy stop or comedy show that's over there on Ocean Drive or whatever. It's not Ocean Drive, PCH, I guess, or something. Not PCH. Anyway, it's right along closest road to next to the ocean, near the boardwalk. There's a comedy store there. Jay Leno comes there quite often on Sundays and introduces the acts, and he kind of keeps himself sharp. by talking and that sort of thing, and cracking a few jokes. Well, when I was in there, there was a comedian, and he was talking about getting his big break, and how he did an HBO special, and how he just got on a sitcom, and just had a new baby, and talked about he finally, you know, bought that $1 million home, and but then he kind of chuckles and said, he goes, you know, in my dreams, my $1 million home was not a 2-bedroom, 1-bath like it really is. So, but that's the reality today. $1 million when I was 25, when I made my first million, hell, I could have bought, I mean, a nice home in Beverly Hills. I could have bought, I mean, I could have bought a lot of stuff if I'd reduced it down to $1 million. I mean, when I say I had I was worth $1 million. I meant I had multiple properties bringing an income that I lived off of, and but that's what I wanted. I wanted freedom. I wanted financial freedom, and not having to work, and that was it, man. I'd sold my cabinet shop, and I had a couple $100,000 from that, but I had, you know, accumulated about $1 million in real estate, and or more than $1 million in real estate, but I bet about $1 million equity, and I was living off it. I had rent, I had notes, I'd probably turned almost 30, 40 pieces of real estate already, and it was great. It was great. And you know, it's funny. I reached out to this Graham Stephan, young real estate guy in Los Angeles. Yeah, he likes his cars and stuff. I haven't watched too much of his stuff, but I kind of identify a little bit with him. Although I didn't really spend all the money on the cars, and we didn't have the internet when I was his age. But he's excited, and it looks like he's making some money. And you know, but I like that. I like that energy. I like people that are trying, and that's why I like you guys. I like hearing that you're trying to make money, or you know, you're doing all the right stuff. You're taking action. You're making those steps and going forward. And you, like I said, you know, read, just read and absorb. You know, I watch stuff all the time, and you know, I'm always educating myself in one way or another. Right now, I'm educating myself about this SEO stuff on these videos. I'm a little bit discouraged. I feel like my channel should grow. I feel like I'm smarter than most of the people that are talking about this stuff. And I'm thinking, why aren't I growing? It's because what I don't know. What I don't know is I don't know the SEO. I don't know a lot of the stuff that's related to that makes your channel grow. But I'm learning fast, and you'll see me apply it, and hopefully you'll see me start to. Hopefully you'll see it start to work. But I think it is already, just starting. But got the studio done. I got the record lights going now, so now I don't have my, you know, I'm in a big factory. Where you see my studio, it's actually it's in a corner of a big factory that I own, and so I'm having fun with that. And I don't know if you've seen the whiteboards. I've been doing more whiteboard stuff, and I'm trying to do a better job. So I will want your input if I'm missing the mark, or if I'm not, you know, if you'd like to see something else. You know, I'm trying to kind of give you the basics and walk you through it now. I think I kind of went through the elements of a contract now in a couple of videos. And, you know, a lot of people want it to be more complicated than it is. It's kind of interesting. But, you know, I simplify it, but really it is simple. It really is simple. You know, the whole thing with real estate, everybody thinks it's something that it's not. You know, it's much, much simpler. It's just math. To me, it's just math. That's what I tell people. It's just math. You know, if it's worth 10, don't pay more than 7 for it. You know, you'll make some money. You'll make a lot of money. And, you know, my kids, they know it better, and they hear it from me all the time. You know, my 14-year-old boys are my daughters. And, you know, oh, hey, all right, Engineer 23. Let's see. What do you got here? Looking like a madman for that killer deal. And you think you found one. Wow. Would you be open to look at the deal if I emailed you? Yeah, go ahead, man, send it to me. You know, go ahead. Listen, I'll look at anything, you know, and I might shut it down or shoot it down, and, you know, that happens a lot. People say, hey, this is a great deal, and I look at it and I think, I don't think so. But I'll tell you what, I had a guy call me, one of my tenants once, called me and said, hey, Tom, I got a property. I wondered if you'd let me out of your lease. You know, he was in a lease with me. And he said, I really like this guy. And he said, oh, I got an opportunity to buy this property. And I said, well, man, yeah, you should. Let's hear me. Tell me about it. Well, he tells me about the property. And the very property he told me about is one that I was driving down the road, I look over and I see this old guy, gray-haired guy, looking pretty old, walking from his car into this building. I thought, man, that old guy, maybe he owns that place and maybe he wants to sell that place. So I called the name on the building. It was an insurance company. And I talked to him. I see he just was walking by, and then I called him and I said, hey, you want to sell that place? He said, nah, I don't want to sell it. And then here a week later, my tenant calls me. He plays golf with that old guy. And he says, he goes, yeah, this guy wants to sell me his place. And he told me, and then before he's even getting off the phone with me or telling me the whole deal, he said, he goes, you know what, never mind, Tom. He goes, I'm not going to buy it. I go, wait a minute. You got to tell me about this deal. Tell me what's going on here. And he says, well, I got this property, I can buy it. And I said, man, I know that property. I just called on that property last week. And the old guy said he wasn't interested in selling. He goes, no, well, I play golf with him, and he told me wants to sell it, wants to sell the business. I said, John, and his name was John. I said, I am turning around, heading back to you right now. I turned around, drove straight to his office while I'm talking to him. I said, man, call that guy right now and tell him we're going to be there in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, we're going to be there. And he said, well, Tom, I don't know. I said, just call him. I said, I'm hanging up. You call him, let him know, see if we can come down there. As soon as I got to his place, I said, you call me? He said, yeah. He said, we can come down. I said, okay, let's go. Hopped in my car, I drove him down there, and went in, said hello, introduced himself, and this guy, owner carried $10,000 down. Beautiful property, extreme profit potential. I mean, extreme, like crazy. But I let him say the price. He said the price. I said, well, look, John doesn't know much about this real estate stuff, but I'm helping him. I said, you know, we may partner on it. He may buy it by himself. And that's what I told him. I said, man, you buy it by yourself if you want, John. I said, or I'll buy it with you. I said, or if you want, I'll just give you 10 grand and I'll take your position on it. And he said, okay, well, let's figure it out. So I wrote that contract right up on the spot, just wrote it on a plain piece of, Xerox paper, a copy paper. And we all signed the deal. We left, and I said, John, I said, man, we're going to close this thing immediately. And the next day he called me and he says, hey, Tom, he goes, were you serious about you'd give me 10 grand just to take my position on it? I said, absolutely. He said, well, I'll just keep renting from you. And he goes, you go ahead and, you just go ahead and buy it without me. I said, it's a deal. I wrote him a check immediately, gave him $10,000. I closed that property, and it was a very, very nice deal. I'm talking, I almost don't even want to say, but I made over 140 grand about 3 weeks. So, maybe 3 months. I think I wanted to hold it. Actually, I think I made it in 3 months. When I say 3 months, I didn't want to sell it. I wanted to keep it. But I had these sign guys, these guys that wanted to build a sign shop. They just begged me for it every day. I bought signs from them, various for sale signs, every day. Talk about persistence. That actually, one of those guys actually passed away, but I really, really like these guys. I'm trying to think of what, I want to say they're Indian, but they weren't Indian. I can't remember. But man, persistent guys, man. They'd say, Tom, you must sell me this property. You must sell me. And I say, I just want to rent it to you. They go, no, you got to sell it to us. And finally, after about 3 months, I said, okay, screw it. I haven't rented it. I'll sell it to you. And like I said, I think I sold it for like, I don't know, $280, and I paid $110 plus $10,000 referral fee. And so that was a nice profit, man. That was a really nice chunk of money in just a very short amount of time. And I want you guys to experience that same thing, because it's out there. It happens all the time. And that's not even my biggest deal. I've made much more than that. But back to the persistence of these guys, like I said, these guys just absolutely would not take no from an answer. They wanted no for an answer. They wanted me to sell them that property. And ultimately, I did sell it to them. No problem. I mean, I was happy to make the money. But in all honesty, I kind of thought, man, I'm going to keep that place for myself. I'll sit there and because at the end, I kind of think someday I'll just be playing with my money at a different level. In other words, I'll finance homes or finance properties and projects for people, and charge them a couple points and a good interest rate, and that may be what I do. I'm not there yet. I like investing. Nothing compares to the money I make investing in real estate myself, buying and selling property. Nothing compares to that. So that's what I will continue to do as long as I can. But look, right now, everybody's got this before them. Everybody has that ability. And right now, there's never been a better time to get owner financing from property. And that means you guys that are like 19 or 18 or whatever, like I was, owner financing is like great, is the best opportunity in the world for you, because nobody gets any money on their money. I don't keep money in the bank. When I park money in the bank, it's temporary. It's temporary, because I know I'm going to get a much, much higher yield when I put it in a piece of real estate in the cash flow, and I can, I'd rather borrow my money. I make money on money I borrow because I can borrow it so cheaply. So the last thing I'm going to do is put my money in the bank, let them loan it out for 4% and give me less than 1%. Forget it. So, but you always got to have a little money in reserves too for rainy day fund, but I'm not talking about that right now, but I'm talking about all you need is a little seed capital. And in the beginning, you can buy a house. If you need a partner, you go get a partner. If you got a hard money lender, that wants 10% and a couple of points, there should be plenty of money on that deal. I mean, you can do the math, right? If you're buying something for 50 or 100,000 and you're paying 70 cents on the dollar, then it's pretty easy to decide, yeah, I can pay 10% and I can pay a couple of points too. And it's worth it, because you're going to make it, you're going to flip it, and now you're going to have a chunk of cash. And that's what I did, is I sought out and I got a partner, sold the first one. Now we each had like, I don't know, $15,000. It was actually a pretty good chunk of that first one. And then, bought another one. He came up with the money, bought it, and made $7,000. And all of a sudden, pretty soon after 6 months, I went through 5 properties and I had about $40,000. And now I went down and I bought a home for myself. I paid $145,000 for a 3,000 square foot home. I mean, it was like a little mansion. I loved it. I had 42 cypress trees around the perimeter. It was about a 1/3 acre. Huge kidney-shaped pool. Every once in a while I go on, I look at it by satellite. It's in California, and I look at that big, beautiful pool. I had grapes growing along one back wall. I had cherry trees. I mean, it was the ultimate bachelor pad at the time. I was a bachelor, and I think I was 28 at the time when I bought that one, and maybe a little younger. Actually, no, I was 25. But anyways, beautiful place. And had a lot of fun, and I rented out one portion of the property to a roommate of mine, Mark. He's actually passed away, unfortunately, but he rented from me, and anyway, life was good. But that's what I did. I didn't waste money, and I still today, everything I buy, I try to make everything an investment. Everything should be a good deal. Now, I don't think twice about going on nice vacations, and me and my family, we go to great places, and we enjoy, and we don't skimp, and we have fun, and that's part of the rewards of earning your money. Just like my kids, when my kids work and make money, I let them spend it how they want. I let them spend it. I tell them not to waste it, but I want them to understand that that's the reward for doing a good job. Is you get to take money that you earn and you get to spend it how you want to spend it, and it's a wonderful thing. So. Anyways, let's get here. So Engineer 23, yeah, you go ahead and send me that, email me that, Tom at FlipAnythingUSA, which also, if you're just tuning in here, I've got a free app I'm giving away. Just email me at tom at FlipAnythingUSA.com, and just write in either, Android or iPhone, and then I'll know what you need. And I'm not ready to give it away yet, but I have the Android one done. iOS is almost done, and when those are ready and I have enough people requesting, I'm gonna send them out, and all I ask is that if you make some money, share it with me. I want to help people make money. That's what turns me on right now. It ain't so much the cash. I make plenty of money, and I kind of demonstrate how I make money with you guys, and I like showing you that stuff. But at the same time, I'm a numbers guy, right? I'm a numbers guy. So, I look at how many people are watching. I look at how many likes I get. I look at how many, subscribers I have. And I'm a little bit disappointed in my numbers, to be honest. I think I should have more, because like I say, I think I'm smarter than most of the people on YouTube that are talking about this stuff. And I know that particularly what I'm doing is so relevant to the people that are beginning to advanced investors. I mean, I've done it all, and I still do it. And, so who knows? We'll see where it goes. But either way, I'm still having fun. And even if I just help a handful of guys and gals, I'm happy. I'm happy. Life is good. So anyways, anybody got a question before I close this thing down? I know I got dinner coming here shortly, so. All right. I think I'm just going to kill it then. So, may do another episode here later on, but like I say, please share, subscribe, hit notifications. Yeah, man, I hope they find it soon, because I'm impatient. That's one thing you'll see. I'm like, you see how relentless I am, right? You don't want to sell it, I call it. How about now? How about now? How about now? You know, well, I'm not the most patient guy, that's for sure. But I'm trying. I really got no choice, right? Okay, so John, you got something here. Difficult to find a deal 30% below market value. So I'm looking at flats. They are cheap and have fantastic cash flow. I'd rather buy a flat that cash flows well than leave. I would agree with you. You know, I would agree with you. There's a lot to be said for people. You know, it used to be say people always need a place to live, and that's true. In America, people always need a place to live, and pretty much the government will always pay somebody else's bills. I don't like that myself, but it's a fact. So, you know, I know like Grant Cardone, he loves the apartments. He loves them apartment buildings, and I've made a lot of money on apartment buildings too. But there's problems, I think, for owning apartments. If you're, well, let me put it this way. I had a kid flush a towel down a toilet, flooded 7 units, okay? $21,000 in carpet, okay? Carpet and other damage, because backed up all those toilets. Fecal matter. You can't dry that shit out. You can't even really clean it. So new carpeting. And guess what? Happened again. 3 weeks after I replaced all that carpet, it happened again. But it only killed about, I think, half as many units with the carpet again. So sometimes you can't afford those kinds of problems. So, you know, and believe me, and I've made money on apartments, and you know what? Like I say, that's our government in the USA. They'll pay your damn bills. You know, they love welfare. Anyways, before I get all political, what I will say is, buy anything is good. I don't like it when people say, just buy apartments, just buy duplexes, you know, that's bull. Buy based on value. Anything can be a great deal. I've bought acreage, made a killing. I've bought single lots and made 70, 80 grand. I've bought, you know, buildings, made over 100,000. Little tiny buildings, made 100 grand. You know, acreage, $300,000, $400,000 in a few weeks. Big acreage, several $1 million. You know, and you know, and then buildings. You know, buy big. You know, I love. To be honest, here's the problem with apartments for me, and I'm not killing them. Believe me, I'll buy anything. Anything is good. I won't narrow it down to saying only one thing is good. And I'm going to look at that question in a minute, Cade. But what I want to stay on subject on here is, anything is a good deal if you buy it right. You can buy in a ghetto, okay? And I've been to Compton. I was looking at properties in Compton back when Compton was like the movie Compton. Back in the 80s, I was in Compton. Whew, not a good place, scary place, to be honest. And I don't know if it's changed. I haven't been there since then, but it was a little bit scary. It was a lot scary. Let me put it that way. All the stores were barred up. But anyway, I'm drifting here. But what I was going to say is, anything can be a great deal. Land, buildings, commercial, office, industrial. Made money on all of it. Apartments I made a lot of money on too, but not any more than anything else. Everything can be very profitable. It's all about you buying it right. Like I said, one of the reasons I don't like apartments and residential stuff is I don't like single family homes that much. They're fine to buy and flip. And you see, I bought 3 or 4 of them since I started this blog, and I'm making a lot of money on all of them. The problem is that that's how I like to make my money on houses. I make money the day I buy it. That's where the money's made, okay? On apartments and things like that, it's kind of the same thing, but just like I talked about, 7 units being flooded out, there's so much more maintenance involved with an apartment building. You have, when somebody moves out, either carpet has to be cleaned or completely replaced. Walls either have to be cleaned or completely repainted, and almost always it's repaint everything, replace everything. Not always, but I mean, there's varying degrees of apartments and clientele for sure. But so you have this tremendous expense in what we call make-readies, making apartments ready for the next person. So I don't love it. Commercial property. No, commercial property I love. Offices I love. People want to move into an office. I don't really do any tenant improvements. I let them do the improvements. I have good contacts. I have good construction skills, and I have some people that work for me. So we can do a lot of work if somebody needs it. We don't mind helping out, and I'll charge for it. I charge for it. I'll say we can do this, and that, but and I can do it more reasonable than most, and I'll do that. But I don't just do tenant improvements free or based on the lease that they're going to go. I mean, it used to be you come in a bank. If a bank owned a building, they'd spend $100,000 remodeling the building just for one tenant on a lease, and then that tenant would last 6 months and then leave, and then they just did that remodel and lost even more money. Really stupid stuff that the banks do when they could get in that position, when they the REOs, when the bank-owned properties, which I bought a lot of those too, but most stuff hasn't been gone to the bank here lately. But my point is on this is that look at everything, and you'll find what you like and what you're most comfortable buying. Don't feel like you have to just look at rentals. A lot of people, it seemed like in the beginning, most people think, oh, I want to get a duplex because I can live in one side and rent out the other. It sounds good, it sounds reasonable, but really, you just want to buy a duplex that's worth $100,000 and you want to buy it for 50 or 70. That's what you want to do. This other stuff just doesn't matter. It's math. It's just math. And as long as you take that in, you'll make more money than anybody when you break it down that way. Let's see, trying to get my computer up here so I can read your questions. Maybe I can do it here. Okay, here we go. Okay, John, difficult to find a deal. Yeah, okay, you're talking about the flats. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And here's the other thing with those flats. If you can get good cash flow out of a flat, you can establish to somebody that this is a great investment, and you can show them that they can, oh God, sorry, I don't know what my phone's doing. If you bring up the cash flow, and I explained this to my video earlier, when you can raise the income, the rental income, you're raising the price, okay? People look at a return on investment, okay? And when you can raise the rents and you can make a property more profitable, that rent, that cash flow that you're raising up, it goes right to the bottom line of what the property is worth. So if you can go in and buy something and then bring the rents up, every 10 grand, let's say, you can raise those rents. You're bringing the value up of that property probably 120,000, maybe even 150,000 by today's standard. People only want like a 7.5% return if they're smart. There's some people I understand are buying stuff at like a 4% return, which is absolutely nuts. Sorry. Sorry, I got a laptop sitting down here that makes it easier for me to see your questions. Okay, Cade Matthias, do you think real estate investing is too competitive in some areas? No, I do not. Listen, yeah, is it competitive? Sure. A lot of people are looking. That's always the case. But sometimes it's a frenzy, I get it. But when there's a frenzy, people are making mistakes, they're paying too much for property. But that's the advantage you have when you say, like you say, you're an amateur. Okay, well, you can be an amateur. And you might be going up against a pro, but guess what? Whoever has the deal is the guy that's going to make the money. So if you can get in between that pro that you're worried about beating you to the deal and what somebody has, you're going to make money off that pro because he can buy it from you. He can give you a commission or a finder's fee. You can flip it to him, and he'll flip it, and he'll make more money too. So no, and you got to understand, when it's competitive, it means the market's hot. There's way more deals out there. When the market's hot, people are buying and selling. People are feeling like, oh, I better sell before the market dies. And then so people make decisions to sell only because they think there's never going to be a better time than now. And that works for you. And then even when things are slow, people do the same thing. They say, well, better sell it now, and we'll take our money and we'll invest it in something else and get a good deal. So people justify the things they do in investing, you know, all kinds of ways. So you can really never be for sure. It's just like a bar. People drink when they're happy, people drink when they're sad. Same with real estate. They buy when things are good, they buy when things are bad. So let's see, Sebastian, do you do Section 8 rentals? I have. I bought a building. I bought a property. This is kind of a funny story too. So I bought a property on 2 acres, had 2 houses on the 2 acres, and the tenant, I had kind of a strange tenant, but he was a Section 8 guy, and about the laziest guy I've ever met in my life. But anyways, had every excuse in the world for not doing nothing, and he looked like it, dude. He was just kind of a mess. Yeah, but you know, really by his own design. But anyhow, don't want to pick on him. Well, I'm not going to name him. But anyways, he was a Section 8. I think he'd been renting the Section 8 for 13 years when I bought the property. Well, there was a house behind that house that the owners would come and use as a cabin. They would come and use it. I mean, it wasn't even in the woods or anything, but it was a place they would stay once in a while. And so and her husband passed, and they'd never been back since. And I bought it from the old gal that owned it. And but what was funny is I go back into this building. I'll have to tell this on another time too. But I go to the second unit, and this is back in like got to be in the 80s, okay? So I had to go there. I had to cut. There was a lock, a deadbolt. I cut the deadbolt, or not the deadbolt, but a regular lock, and open the door up, and I go inside this little house, about 1,000 square feet, and I flip on a switch, and a light lit, kind of dim, but the power was on, and I look, and there's like a dead rat on the floor, just dried out, been there for years. And then also what was really cool was there was an LA Times that was bound by a string. That's how they did it. They tied it by a string. And I remember picking up that paper. It had never been read. And on the cover of that magazine, I think it was a 1977 or 79 issue, but on the cover was Muhammad Ali and I think Spinks or Joe Frazier or somebody. And it was really cool. I should have kept this paper. I thought I did, but it's gone, long gone now. But it was really cool because it was Muhammad Ali on the front cover of the LA Times, and he had just won the fight and recaptured his championship status. So it was really cool. I'll never forget it. Well, so anyhow, I'm wandering around inside this building. Well, there's a radio sitting on a counter on my right as soon as I walked in. And I go, oh, wow, cool. You know, an antique radio. I thought this was neat. And so I start turning the knobs and, you know, turning it on, trying to see if it works, and played around a little bit, like, it doesn't work. And so then I walked on into the house, and I walked down the hallway, and I'm looking in the bathroom, and I'm looking in the bedroom, and I'm looking at the furniture, and I opened up the refrigerator, the light came on, and there was food in there that had been in there for like, I don't know, 10 or 12 years. It was kind of nasty in a lot of ways, but it was kind of creepy because it stayed so dimly lit, I couldn't really see anything. I turned on the lights, and the lights were just dim. For some reason, the bulbs were terrible or something, but there was no real light in there. And so anyhow, but I walked back in to the living room where I'd started, right, where I came in from the entry, and I got my back now to that radio that I was fiddling with earlier. Well, I didn't realize it was an old tube radio, right? So when I turned these knobs all the way and around, I'd turned the volume all the way up on that thing, and I had turned it on. And I'd walked the whole house, and now I come back and I got that radio behind me. Well, those old tube radios, they warm up. The tubes warm up, and then the volume comes on. And that's what happened. That thing turned on behind me, full volume. And like I said, I was already kind of creeped out. It was dark, it was kind of eerie, and dead rat on the floor and all this other weird stuff, it seemed like at the time. And then all of a sudden that thing turned on, and I mean, I shot. My head almost hit the ceiling. And it wasn't low ceilings, I'm serious. It almost hit the ceiling. It just scared the hell out of me. That radio come on so loud behind me. But anyways, anyhow, that's always nice to talk and have these questions, because it reminds me of stories that would otherwise be forgotten. And that's actually a pretty fun one to think about for me. Okay, so what else we got here? Fosh. thoughts on investing in condos with HOAs. Well, you know what? I mean, HOAs are part of the necessary evil with condos, and they also exist in some residential neighborhoods. I've actually had to sue an HOA before, and threatened to sue and beat them up, because what tends to happen with some of these HOAs is they'll get some old idiot that wants to be the sheriff of the neighborhood. He wants to be the sheriff. You know, he got no life. Maybe the wife makes him miserable. He goes out and walks the dog, and because he doesn't want to be inside with the wife, and then next thing you know, he's, I know what I'll do. Hey, their grass is too high, or gee, that fence has a little damage on it. They need to fix that. These busybodies, I call them. And so I had a couple of those kind of guys sticking their nose in my business, and I was like, I put up with it for a while. I mean, I put up with it almost for 8 years, and then finally I had enough. And that's when I realized it's just easier to sue those kinds of people and make them miserable. I won't even put up with anybody in an HOA anymore. Somebody wants to play sheriff, soon as they get on my radar, they got to watch out, because I will torture them with a lawsuit if I have to. And that's what I ended up doing with these guys. And not that I really like doing it, but I mean, I loved it, to be honest. But I had to do it because they wouldn't learn any other way. And you know what? After that, it was bliss. And anymore, and I've actually had to sue a couple other people, or put them under the pressure of feeling a lawsuit. And when some people, they think, they don't think twice about costing people money and interfering with their plans. But sometimes they just got to be hit over the head and slapped. And sometimes the only way to do that is with a lawsuit. Obviously, you can't slap somebody across the face. You go to jail, even though you might feel like it. But anyways, I don't know what else I can share right now, but I'm glad I took time to make this video and hang out with you guys. Has anybody got anything else? This is the time. Has anybody been thinking about those seminars or looking at any of that stuff? I wouldn't. Is there anybody else on YouTube that you guys watch? What other video real estate guys or people that give information similar to me? Who do you like? Who do you like out there? All right, thanks, Cade. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I really do. I may be interviewing. Actually, I got interviewed by a pretty good YouTuber I like a lot, John Sonmez. Oh yeah, Phil Pustajovsky. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to. Bigger Pockets, Grant Cardone. Huh? Okay. Yeah, I've seen those names. Grant looks like he's usually looking more for investors to invest with him on his apartments. Pustajovsky, I need to look at him a little closer. But that's good. That's good. Well, man, I appreciate everybody sharing. And like I say, I'm always available to you if you got a question. Just try to put them in the comments, and then we all learn together. And actually, when I turn some of these houses that I got, I'm going to have figured out. I was talking to my son the other day. I said, son, I'm probably going to have dang near $1.2 million cash. So I can buy something big, maybe I'd like to get like a $5 million, commercial complex, that's really what I want. But you know what? My mind's open for anything. But I can leverage that into, the bank will loan me $4 million if I put up $1 million. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, but I got to find the right property, and that's not always easy to do. But whatever, you know, I'm going to take that money and parlay it into more, and I'm going to show you how I do it, and I want you guys to show me how you do it too. So anyways, that's it for now. Be sure to share, subscribe. Please, when you go onto these places where you go to, man, let people know they can go sign up for a free app or share my stuff with them. The more of us we got, when I was younger, I wouldn't share a thing. I didn't, man. I kept every bit of information, everything I learned. I know how valuable this is. I know how valuable this information is. When I was young, I knew it. I kept it to myself. I didn't want somebody in town screwing with me, messing with my deals when I was trying to make money. And I kept it very quiet. And now I just don't care. So, and I know there's plenty of deals and, plenty of money to go around, right? So, hey, that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll we'll talk to you guys again. Maybe I'll do something again tonight or sometime soon. FlipAnythingUSA. Thanks.